Thank you everyone for being here today. It's such a pleasure to be amongst galaxy of stars which build the Indian mutual fund industry, which is all of you. I'm really proud to be here in front of you. I am a money manager for the last 3 decades, so my perspective is restricted to equity fund management. So I have a very narrow view of the world, so please bear with me on that one. I think I can only share with you my learnings over the 3 decades as to what has worked in the investing business, and I hope to share that with you, and I hope that there is something of importance that you can take away from what I have to say. You know, the first thing, the foundation of whatever I believe in, I come from really what is called the character ethic, right? If you want to pursue something well, I have believed that you must have a strong character as a foundation to achieve that goal. What does that mean? Basically, you must have integrity, you must have diligence, you must put the client interest ahead of you, you must have the rightful knowledge of the business that you are in, etc., etc. So for me, where I come from, to build something well, first you need to focus on the foundation, which is the character ethic. It is not as if people who are not pursuing this character ethic don't succeed in our business. There are unethical people also who succeed in our business. But my belief is that if you come from that path, your journey is more fulfilling. There is a greater purpose to your life, and I think it is more sustainable. If you don't take shortcuts, the certainty of you reaching where you want to is really high. So that's really the perspective that I come from, and that's really what I want to share with you. I just want to share with you 2 aspects of the investing business, which I have noticed, and maybe I can share that with you. One is the hard facts, and then there is a second is the soft side, right? So let's get to the hard aspects first, right? In my assessment, the hard fact is really making money for your clients, right? And how's the best way to do it? What are the principles that you have to, first principles that you have to keep in mind to make sure that you're able to deliver that to your client? You know, in my learning, what I have found is that the first thing that is important to deliver a very good investment result is the right asset allocation. Indian equities have delivered a return of 16% per annum or thereabouts for the last 42 years. I can tell you that is a unique equity market. I'm not even sure whether the US, which is the mother market as far as equity markets are concerned, have delivered that kind of return over such a long period. It's truly unique amongst global markets. So it mattered whether you were in equities to begin with in the first place. Of course, you could have found a good fund manager, but your asset allocation, please do the math, if you compound at 16% for 42 years, what does your 1 lakh or 1 crore translate to? It's a huge number. So the first thing that I think in your journey of wealth creation for yourself and your clients, what matters is the right asset allocation. The second thing is, I don't think, when I talk to people, I get the impression that they want to get wealthy quickly. Nothing happens in the short term. A lot of big wealth is made over long periods of time, and that requires temperament. So you must encourage yourself first and then your client, because you will eventually get the clients you deserve. So you must encourage yourself and the client to think longer term to actually make large amount of wealth. Without that, nothing is really going to happen. The third thing is, my belief is that if you want to achieve superior returns, you have to have a bit of a contrarian view, right? So in my assessment, look, Indian equity markets peaked in October 21, right? The two measures that I look at is valuations also peaked and sentiment, enthusiasm also peaked. People are extremely excited about investing in equity markets at that time. By the way, that was also a top for the equity markets, which we have not violated for 18 odd months. So that's a very dangerous aspect. Any asset class that has done well for 3 or 5 years and you're getting at the top, big mistake. You have to have a bit of a contrarian view. And the other way around, post-COVID, there was such depression, such valuation comfort and depression as far as sentiment was concerned. Those two things you need to keep in mind. By the way, that was also the best buying opportunity. So thinking contrarian is a key ingredient of ensuring that your investment track record is success. So asset allocation, thinking long term, and having a contrarian streak. These are very, very good principles to keep in mind. Like I said, I think in my assessment, the emotional stability is one of the most important things in the investing business. And that's, in fact, somewhere I feel the part of a wealth manager or a mutual fund distributor is emotional management of the client. The client is most likely to do the wrong thing at the wrong time, right? If you had cryptocurrencies at $75,000 or $65,000, even if you had a certain percentage, you know what the result would have been. If you had internet stocks of America in the year 2021, you know what that outcome would have been. Unfortunately, people get excited the most at the wrong time. There's this fund, right, in America, which is a reflective of the internet bubble. It got most of its money at the peak of the market. And that fund has crashed 80+%. So I think this contrarian ability with an ability to keep your emotions under control for yourself and your clients is, again, I think one of the most important aspects as far as generating longer term returns is concerned. So to me, that is the hard aspects of generating a healthy return profile over the medium term. And the soft aspect, like I said, is emotional maturity. I would say, Mani sir talked about ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. I think you must be aware of the change that is coming. Artificial intelligence is progressing at such a rate that today or 3 years or 5 years later, you're going to have computers generate asset allocation for you. So what is your value add? Your value add is twofold. Long-term knowledge. Second is trust and relationship. So that is, I think, what is going to be important in the future as you build your relationship. So these soft aspects of emotional control, relationships, and building your own value add, by the way, I think is going to be very, very important. The rate at which things are changing, skill sets will need to be changed as you move forward. So those aspects, I think, are necessary to succeed in the investment business, is my assessment. I think this is a mechanical process. I think one of the fantastic successes of the Indian mutual fund industry has been to convince people that SIPs is a very, very good investment option. And you can see that the dollar cost averaging, how it results in a superior return even in a flat market. So I think that is a very, very good approach to investing, especially in the equity markets. Please do not mistake this. Ignorance is never bliss. You must develop, given the way the world is changing, I would really be paranoid about not knowing enough as to what is moving markets, what are moving asset classes, etc. But it is the right kind of ignorance. Usually the questions that I get from investors is, should I invest now or should I invest in 2 months? Those are questions which are, can be totally ignored. Those are not questions, these are unknowables. So don't focus on the unknowables. That ignorance is always bliss, right? You look at the long-term track record of equities. You look at the fact that India's growth rate is accelerating. Our nominal GDP is going to grow at 10% per annum. Our private sector is growing faster than that. If earnings growth takes place, so will stock prices. That is enough for you to know that I need to have a healthy view of equity markets in the medium term. So what has been in the past is something that you'll also see, as you move forward. So you have to have the right kind of ignorance. I think these are some things that I've already talked about. The final product is myself. I think, Mr. Money talked about how you have to love your organization, you have to love, people who work with you, etc. I have my own version of this. There's this movie that I really resonate with. It's a movie called Jerry Maguire, which is, the lead actor is Tom Cruise. And he's like a sports salesperson. And that's really helpful because he's also a salesperson who generally gets a bit ethical about his work. But there is this witty salesperson, wise salesperson who keeps coming out and giving advice. And I really like that advice that he keeps giving. And one of the advice that he gives in that movie is, that unless you love everybody, you cannot sell to anybody. So you need to be that kind of a person who genuinely likes humankind. And who likes everybody, who's not very cynical person, who's very positive. He can absorb all types of people in his conversation. So if you're that kind of a person, I can promise you'll be an extremely effective salesperson. So I think that final product is myself is really around that. That's the theme of the movie, is it? Our theme, yes. So that I think it also it resonates a lot with me, at least. That basically you have to love everybody to be a seller to anybody. I have pointed this out again, that MFDs are the past and MFDs are the future. To me, the most important really is going to be knowledge and trust. If you really ask me, if I were to, what we are also trying to aspire to be at ITI Mutual Fund, I tell my people that we must be first trustworthy. The client is smart enough to know whose interest you put first. When you talk to him, they will know whether it was your interest or their interest. Always put their interest first. You'll be surprised at how long-term relationships can be developed with that philosophy in mind. And the second is, be paranoid about learning and having insight. Insight gives you confidence, it gives you clarity, it gives you a certain understanding of decisions that you make. So those things are extremely important to us as well at ITI Mutual Fund, and I think I would encourage that type of a behavior. I think I don't need to take more time, but I think the opportunity for India is enormous. We are a $3.5 trillion economy. There are many competitors who point out that we are like a $5 trillion, $7 trillion, $10 trillion economy. We have one of the highest savings rates in the world. Individuals save a lot, and that culture really should be encouraged. Even at the personal level, the highest borrowing that Indian people have done is in Indian real estate, right? Mortgage financing. That's probably, the penetration of mortgage financing is at 11%. After so many years of mortgage financing, our penetration now is 11%. In the developed world, it can be in the 80s, 80% plus. So we are that type of people. We save money, and when the economy becomes $3.5 trillion, $4 trillion, $5 trillion, $10 trillion, you can imagine the amount of savings that would take place. If we were to change that savings to financial savings, and within financial savings, change that to more productive assets like equity classes or the mutual funds, I think we would be doing a great service. So the opportunity for all of us, as you move forward in the next 3, 5, or 10 years is enormous. I think that's really why we feel we are extremely excited to be part of the ecosystem as we speak. I won't take much of your time. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I wish you the best for the future. Thank you.